like to do is, first of all, this was a called meeting of all the law enforcement officials in the county. I wanted to call them together to talk about what's going to happen on March 3rd. But first, before I start, I would like them to introduce themselves and what agency they're from.
Todd Spivey, City of Riverdale.
Jamie Reynolds, City of Forest Park.
Franklin Allen, City of Jonesboro.
Ernest Schroeder, College Park, PD.
Greg Tatro, City of Marl.
Wanda Dunham, MARTA, please.
Mark Harris, City of Lovejoy.
Clarence Cox, Clayton County School Police.
Nikki Renfro, Georgia State Patrol.
Bobby Hamill, Clayton State University.
David Caldwell, Lake City.
And Gina Hawkins, Clayton County Police Department.
All right, I definitely want to thank all the chiefs and their representatives for making this meeting. November 2014, Clayton County citizens overwhelmingly voted to bring transit in the form of MARTA back to Clayton County. We're excited about that, but at the same time, a lot of the citizens have had concerns about crime. How are we going to decrease the crime and prevent crime from happening as a result of bringing transit back to Clayton County? That is exactly what prompted the second meeting of the law enforcement officials who are tasked with protecting and serving the citizens of Clayton County. We've had a productive meeting, and I fully expect for the citizens' concerns to be addressed and for crime to be effectively mitigated. So at this time, I would like to call Chief Dunham from the MARTA Police Department up.
Good morning. On March 21st, MARTA is coming to Clayton County. And so we are so excited, but you know, we can't do it alone. We are excited to have 100% participation this morning at Chairman Turner's meeting. And we had a really productive meeting to talk about all of our efforts, because it won't just be a MARTA effort, it will be a collaborative effort from every one of these law enforcement agencies that we will traverse through. And so we want to make sure that everybody is on board. And I think by Chairman Turner calling us all together today, I think we got clarity. I hope that everyone is got clear understanding of what their roles and responsibilities are, and we hope that we manage their expectations. We also want to manage the expectations of the Clayton citizens, and we want to let them know that we will have coverage, we will have law enforcement presence from the MARTA Police Department in Clayton County on March 21st. So what can the citizens of Clayton County expect on March 21st? That's the question everyone wants to know. We have 13 officers that's assigned and dedicated to Clayton County. They will be here as the service, as long as the service runs, they will be here patrolling the streets of Clayton County. With that, we have 444, including the Clayton County amended staff. We'll have a total of 444 police department employees, and those resources, because Clayton has become a part of the MARTA family, they will be used in Clayton County as needed. So we don't want anyone to think that just because we have 13 people dedicated just to Clayton County, we will have, on the first day, you'll see our K-9 unit, you'll see our SORT team, which most people call a SWAT team. You will have people riding, we'll have officers riding buses, we'll have them riding in uniform, we'll have them riding plain clothes. We will have a lot of mobile vehicles on the streets, as well as our motorcycle unit. So you will see an increased presence of law enforcement, but you will also see MARTA police visible everywhere in Clayton County along our routes on beginning March 21st. We are committed to this effort, and we will, as any new service, we will always reassess, and if the need presents itself, if the call service or the call for service or volume is such that we need more than the 13 people that we have dedicated, then we will dedicate those services. We'll reassess, and we will dedicate additional resources, just like if we would if it was College Park, Lakewood, or Ashby Station. We do that on a daily basis. So that's what you can expect from MARTA, and you have our commitment.
Thank you, Chief, and I just want to add to that, that any effective part of crime deterrence is high visibility. And part of the strategy that will be used in Clayton County is all these law enforcement officers and agencies behind me that you see will be on the streets of Clayton County, will be patrolling those routes. And it's not to create a county that appears to be a state police. But at the same time, we need to make sure that citizens know, those who might come out for reasons to commit crimes or anything otherwise, that we will not tolerate foolishness. We will not tolerate you coming to Clayton County and tearing up our county and committing crimes. We are going to effectively police it. We are going to arrest you if you commit a crime, and we're going to do what needs to be done to protect the citizens of Clayton County. And that is the collaboration and effort and commitment of every one of the agencies behind me. So at this time, I'm gonna open it up and you can ask any of these law enforcement agencies any questions you may have.
I'd like to know how, there's going to be several different municipalities and so forth. How are you going to divide up or determine what are the jurisdictions for MARTA versus the municipal folks like Jonesboro or College Park?
Wherever our bus routes go, that's where our MARTA Police jurisdiction is on our buses. It's on our rolling stock. So it's on our buses, it's on our mobility vehicles, as well as our trains and any stations or facilities that MARTA owns. Anything on the street or in the local jurisdiction or county is the responsibility of the local jurisdiction. So MARTA does not police bus stops. So that would be the local jurisdiction's responsibility, bus shelters, but we definitely handle anything that's on our buses. So it will kind of be a natural divide, because if it's in the city of Jonesboro, it's Jonesboro's. If it goes through Riverdale, it's Riverdale's and Morrow and et cetera. So it's a natural break, so whatever jurisdiction is in, it belongs to them. But like I said, the buses, one thing that we do when there's a call in our system, we dispatch the local jurisdiction as well as MARTA Police at the same time. We're coming, and whoever gets there first, we want them to stabilize the situation, and then we'll work out who's gonna take that call later, or who's gonna take the report later. One thing I wanted to just stress, well, I said we will have 13, this will be a phased approach. And so, March 21st will be our phase 1. August 8th is phase 2. We will ramp up to additional officers then, and then December of 2015 is phase 3. So as we bring on more routes, because we're only starting with 3 routes, as we bring on more routes, we will also bring on additional resources.
How many buses will be on each route? Is it just one bus per route, or for the initial phase of March 21st?
I know we'll have 3 routes, and I'm gonna suggest less than 50, approximately 50. We don't know that number for sure, but I'm thinking approximately
50 buses and 3
total.
routes?
Yes.
Okay. Total for starting out?
Yes, correct. And then as we ramp up and add more routes, they'll add more buses.
Just so I'm clear about the number of officers, it starts with for the first 3 routes, there are going to be 13 officers that are designated here. And then are there going to be more officers added with each phase? Is that?
Yes, that's what, we'll ramp up. So as we have more buses come online, then we'll add additional law enforcement resources.
Can you specify, and this may be an old question, but now with MARTA added, it's valid again. How is your communication, your 911 and radios integrated? Are they already such that everybody hears each other and can communicate, or how is that going to be done?
Yes, well, the one thing that we're always concerned about is safety, and with that comes communication. The thing that we wanted to make sure is that we could talk to one another, because that's really important. So Clayton County is on a 700 megahertz system, MARTA is on an 800 megahertz system, so we needed to make sure that we could communicate. We had our experts come down to meet with Clayton, and there is a natural patch that we will have, and we will be able to communicate. So we worked that out early on, and so we've come down to make sure that there's no dead spots and that we can actually hear one another. And the good thing about it, we're all on the same signals and codes, and so there won't be a learning curve there. So, you know, we're ready for that.
And 9/11?
Yeah, I mean,
When I call 911 and say, I don't know where I am, kind of, you know what I'm getting at is, I'm
yes.
at the bus stop or whatever, and somebody's beating me up. How is that?
Yeah, well, once you call 911, it'll transfer you to, you'll go to the local jurisdiction. The local jurisdiction will call MARTA, and we will both come. So you'll have double service. You'll have more than what you need because it goes to their local jurisdiction. Their local jurisdiction will have direct contact with MARTA police, and we'll all come. And so that's the great thing. You have like double service, basically. But, you know, we'll definitely respond.
And I guess this may be a question for Chairman Turner or one of the police chiefs. Will there be dedicated officers from, say, Clayton County Police who are just dedicated MARTA, or in the process of doing their own routes throughout the day, will they be, charged with?
I help out with that question a little bit. Let me go back a little bit to what you said.
Okay. And your name again, ma'am?
Deputy Chief Gina Hawkins. I'm here representing Chief Porter.
Okay.
Your first question was, how's everyone going to know what jurisdiction? Everyone behind me, we all work together on a normal basis anyway. We all know our jurisdictions. We are partners. We support each other no matter what. If somebody needs help, the cavalry comes. So that's how, and everyone knows their jurisdictions. The question regarding, your last question regarding.
I guess if, say, I'm an officer in Jonesboro and I'm generally not.
And that's why these meetings are happening now. So we know what the routes are going to take place. We're not going to have dedicated officers for MARTA.
Okay, that's good.
But we are going to make sure we are aware of the stops, the time periods, and aware of what's going on in the county. So we're going to patrol the county streets, county sidewalks, in our jurisdiction as normal. We're just going to be aware of what's going on. And we also will now have the extra resource of MARTA police officers to assist us. So it's going to benefit us to know what's going on. But all the jurisdiction knows now what the locations are. We are able to ask different questions, able to address different issues, and that's how we're going to handle it.
And I guess the other thing with regard to preparation, did you all go out together? I think there was some conversation, but if there wasn't enough lighting in one area where the bus was lighting.
We had our first meeting. We did a ride along on the bus on one of the routes, and we were able to address some of the concerns that we had as police departments and that we know what's going on in our areas. And as a result, some changes have been made to some of the stops. So there's a lot of communication, and as it ramps up, we ask that question as well. We're going to do that again based off our concerns of, is that a good spot or not a good spot?
And I guess, Chief Dunham, have you all found or chosen your temporary MARTA precinct here in Cleveland?
We actually are going to be sharing space with Clayton County PD. So they have been gracious enough to loan us a space at their headquarters. So we will be temporarily located at Clayton County PD.
The headquarters?
Headquarters, yes ma'am. You had a question?
Yes, I did. Good morning.
Good morning.
Will there be metal detectors placed on the buses to prevent weapons from entering?
No ma'am. We have, Georgia has you can carry weapons on transit. Yeah, so we don't have that restriction. They passed that law a couple of years ago. So yeah, they can carry weapons on transportation. So we won't have that. What we will have is cameras on all of our buses currently, which is what we already have with our other service. And so we will bring cameras with audio to make sure that we have the same thing here in Clayton. And one thing that we want to stress to our customers is that we expect them to ride with respect, and that's our new program. And we've really, since its inception, we have suspended over 4,000 customers who have not, have exhibited knucklehead behavior, according to our general manager. But we have, that have not ridden with respect, loud music, failing to pay their fare, and so we have. It's been a successful program for us. Yes, ma'am.
whenever the officers were riding through and kind of determining problem areas and what might become a problem, and this might differ by jurisdiction, what were the biggest problems or biggest concerns of the local police as you guys were going through? What are you looking out for?
We just identified locations that that might have had issues in the past, where we've already deployed extra manpower to address those issues. Might not be the best place as far as site, things like that. Those are the locations we identified and offered feedback for, things like that, so.
I guess either Chief or Clayton or whatever, there is going to be a critic somewhere that's going to say, or they're going to see all the cops, and they're going to, oh my God, MARTA's going to bring crime. And I don't know that that's valid, and I guess my question is, you probably know better than anybody. Is MARTA going to bring crime?
We don't think so.
Okay.
What we know is that there will be probably an increase in activity because you have more people and you have more people moving around. So there may be more activity, it may be more calls for service, more arrest, because we will stress a ride with respect culture, and we will have strict enforcement on that when we start, because we want to change. We want to educate our new customers onto and coming into MARTA, but how we expect them to ride MARTA. And so so I know that MARTA is up to the challenge of looking at this. No one has a crystal ball, but we definitely will monitor the situation. And if resources are needed, not just from MARTA, but from our team, then we will definitely reach out to each other. We plan to continue these conversations. This is not just a one-time, two-time meeting. We want to meet regularly to talk about what they're seeing, what we're seeing, and how we can resolve those issues.
What kind of typical bus crimes that you didn't have before that you guys are going to have to address? I would picture in my mind is it what people mistakenly call petty crime, but it's citizen fear. What kind of things happen at a bus stop or happen on a bus that you just wouldn't have had before if you didn't have buses?
Fair evasion. We have to make sure that people know, just education, that people need to know how to pay, and how just educate them on the fare media, what's available to them, and what our expectations are to pay your fare. And that's really the only thing that we anticipate is just the education on fare, how to pay your fare, and how to get fare media, where to get it from, those kind of things. One thing that we want to educate our customers on is our MARTA on the Go app. We have a MARTA on the Go app, which is really important for our citizens to know, is because it gives them real-time information about when the buses are coming. So as opposed to standing outside, we have our teenagers, we have our seniors. You're standing outside in the cold or the rain. You can sit in your house in a warm home and look at the MARTA on the Go app, and it'll tell you real time, not what our schedule says, but because of traffic or other things, it'll tell you this bus is running 5 minutes late. So you don't have to come out of your house until 5 minutes later than the bus was scheduled to come. That's really, really good and really important for our customers here in Clayton to know. The other thing that we want them to know is our See and Say police app. That's a way that if you're experiencing some type of event, you can text that to the MARTA Police Department. It goes directly to our communication center. It's a real-time monitor. We have live monitoring of that, and the officers will send it to the dispatcher, and we'll have an officer to your location. So it's a covert way of getting, getting assistance without letting that person know that, you've told them, that there's a problem. So it's a great way, it's a great app. Since its inception, we've had about 15,000 uploads, and so we're really excited about that. And you can take a picture covertly because the flash has been diminished. So it's a good way to communicate.
Last thing, and I'll shut up. Does this open up also the availability of MARTA's very well-known disabled buses and people with special needs access to, are you going to have those here?
Oh, yes, definitely. Our mobility service for our disabled passengers will come online on March 21st as well. And so it'll be to the 3/4 of a mile from the fixed routes. And so that'll be phased in as well. So as we bring on more routes, you'll have, the citizens will have availability to more mobility services.
I was talking with a citizen who was concerned from the last time when we had transit here in Clayton. She was mentioning that she lived close to a C-Tran route and noticed an increase in foot traffic through her neighborhood, which she believes led to some burglaries that occurred, and she saw an increase in burglaries. And I asked her did they decrease when C-Tran stopped, and she said pretty much yes. But is there anything that MARTA and or Clayton County jurisdictions are doing to address that type of situation where there's foot traffic? And I guess that wouldn't necessarily be MARTA, because that would be more of the local jurisdiction. If there's anything that could be done or will be done to address concerns about increased foot traffic in neighborhoods near MARTA stops.
First and foremost, the awareness of where the locations are, and we automatically do keep up with our crime midweek. All the captains make sure they know what's going on. So it doesn't matter if MARTA's here, MARTA's not here, we're going to address the crime. As we see increases, we're going to redirect manpower to that location. So we're always going to be proactive. We're going to, if we see something that is a result that occurred at MARTA, we're going to talk with MARTA as one of the partners, our new partners, to say, hey, can you help us out with this? We're seeing this going on around this time period. Just the same way we would go to the schools, Chief Cox. If we saw an issue coming from schools, we communicate all the time regarding trying to address those issues. So we would get with any one of our partners to try to address issues happening in the community.
I talked to one resident who expressed concern that the MARTA buses would somehow lead to an increase in successful gang activity. Is that even a concern?
Our concern is crime all the time, no matter what. So we're not going to predict anything. We're just going to address the crime. We're going to do prevention as we normally would. If we have right now, if we have gang issues or theft issues or robbery issues, we're going to target our resources and think about how can we address that issue. So,
to piggyback on that, how many people do you have, like a gang intelligence officer? How many do you have in Cleveland?
Right now, we have a detective and we have a gang liaison, and we're ramping that up. We have approximately 7 people who work in conjunction with gang, but I know Chief Porter is working on ramping that up as well.
Can you provide the most recent, crime stats for Clayton, and whether or not those, I know that there's been some discussion that crime has gone down steadily in the last few years.
We're always able to, you're always able to access any of our crime stats.
Will background checks be a requirement for MARTA bus drivers?
Yes, MARTA has a background checks that they would normally do anyway, but these drivers are already on board, so these would be existing drivers.
That's a good question. How many people has MARTA hired from Clayton so far?
I don't have that
And I know I'm
information.
throwing that out.
Yeah, I don't have that information, but I'm sure they can get it for you.
I
Okay, you know.
I was
Okay.
reading from yesterday.
Yes, okay.
31.
Okay, very good.
From,
31.
Clayton
Thank you,
residents?
Chairman.
Yes, they're actually Clayton County residents.
Thank you.
All right, one more question. Any other questions?
Yeah, it sounds like MARTA's got a couple of computer apps here that y'all ought to steal. If anybody want to comment about that, and see and say thing, or a couple other things that might be an unseen benefit here?
Well, actually, we all collaborate and we share this type of information, but the schools also employ an app called I Watch Clayton County Public Schools. And I think the Clayton County Police Department has an app. So many of us already have our own apps individually. The fire department has one as well. So any forms of communication that we can all put together and share this information is going to be helpful in our efforts to protect our citizens.
One last one.
Okay. How many actual stops will be on the initial, 3? Does anybody know?
138.
138.
138 stops?
138 stops.
Thank you so much.
All right, is there any statement or comments anybody else would like to make? No? All right, one thing though I would really want to reiterate here, and Chief Dunham, help me if I go astray.
Okay.
I want to talk about the manpower allocation. I want to make sure that y'all really understand what she said, and that is, to start off, they're going to allocate 13 officers to Clayton County. But we have the full weight of the whole MARTA Police Department, 400 officers. So, for example, just like in Clayton County, if you have a sector or a zone, and you have 10 or 15 officers hypothetically assigned to that zone, if something major happens or if there's a spike or increase in crime, then the Clayton County Police Department will allocate more personnel to investigate or to deter crime in that area. MARTA saying the same thing. If there's a need to bring additional personnel to Clayton County in the form of a SWAT team, in the form of K-9 dogs or whatever it may be, they will send additional personnel as needed. So that was one of the major concerns about the number that I've heard from some of our citizens. 13 people, that doesn't sound like a whole lot of officers. They are backed, those 13 are backed by the full weight of the MARTA Police Department and every agency that you see behind me. So I want to make sure that that is absolutely clear.
And it's understood that that's 13 for the initial.
Three lines. When March 21st rolls around,
It's 13.
they will have 13 officers plus whatever else they allocate out here. And for the first week, I would expect that you would see more officers just for the purpose of visibility's sake. Setting the standard, letting them know that MARTA is operating, there's an expectation of how you should act and govern yourself. And as these officers behind me and agencies have over years and years of protecting citizens of Clayton County are going to do their job, and that is protect at all costs the citizens of Clayton County.
And by the end of the year, would there be more than 13 dedicated MARTAs?
Each phase, they will grow more and more officers. August of 2015, you'll see 8 lines coming online, additional officers. By the end of December of 2015, additional officers. So they will grow as the lines grow. All right? Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody coming out. All right. Thank you.